Okay, so here's your roof. Where my tape measure is laying is where the water is inside your house. Alright, it's 5.5 feet. 5.5 feet from your inside wall, which is here. The rest of it is your eave on the outside of the house. So here's where I measured from 5 feet, right there, 5.5 feet, and 7 feet from that wall. So where the tape measure is sitting is the stain in your ceiling is directly below it. Like I said, it'll never go straight in. It's always going to come up and trickle down. It's got a leak from a nail around here somewhere, and then it has to get through the underlayments and the insulation, and then make it over to that spot where it's going to drip, which is going to be the first seam. Usually it's by the seam of where your sheetrock is, because it's the easiest point of entry, you know. Because on this side of your sheetrock, it's nice and flat because they finished it, spackled it, taped it. Where the boards meet on the other side of it, there's a big space. So the water leaks in on top of the sheetrock and falls in that space, goes through the tape. And that's usually where you're going to see it, unless it's really, really bad. But now when I come over here, like I said, you can hear it because all the plywood is rotted in here. Now that dry rotted from heat, that's why it makes that noise. It doesn't make noise when it's rotted plywood from a leak, but when you hear this crackling that it does all that crackling because the plywood is bad. But now, anyway, see that bounce? You can't have that. But when I get back to the leak now, here's the tape measure where the leak spot is. Here's as I look up. So as I'm looking up, I'm looking underneath shingles to see if I could see nails next to a seam. So there's a seam, there's a nail. That's a good nail. That's why it's nice and gray still. Okay? Now as I look around more, I look underneath shingles. The nails are nice and gold. Some of them are protruded past the shingle, which is going to cause a leak in the future, but right now it's nice and gold. So people might think that's leaking. It's not leaking. It's not even getting wet. There's no nails here except for all the way over there. That's good, no nail. So hopefully there's no nail here, which there is one. See, that's a nail that's way too close to the seam. But I'm still not sold. Why am I not sold? Because the nail is nice and golden still. And once it gets wet a couple times, it's going to lose its luster, become dulled out, turn white, and then end up leaking into the house. So there's no nail there. There's a nail there that's getting wet. See the difference? See, that nail is all rusted already from it getting wet? That nail is going to start to cause a leak. Now, from the size of the stain that you got inside, there's no way that little nail is making that stain. So it's something that's big that I'm going to find. So as I'm looking through here, I'm going to lift up things, look more. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. But I'm still going right above your leak till I come over here and I lift this up and I see another one. There goes another nice nail that's leaking. So that's two in the same area. I'm going to keep looking though, because I don't trust what's going on up here. Now granted, I'm starting to look for something while I got you on the phone, and I'm going to find it. Don't worry. There's no way that this is going to get away from me without me finding it. So I'm going to end up finding it in here. See how none of these things are sealed down anymore? That's no good. But that's still not making a leak. None of that stuff is leaking. Well, not that bad. Anyway, not yet. Let's see. There's a nail hole that was sealed up, and the hole is still there. That's leaking too. But it's still not the most horrible thing I've ever seen. So, there's got to be a better answer under here somewhere. We just need to look further. Oh! So, it appears, you see this on this shingle right here? This mark right here? You see how it moves? That's because something's protruding past it that looks like a nail. But it's not. Look at that. You know what that is? That is an H-clip for thin plywood over a long rafter span that you put in between them to keep the plywood together. And it's bent up, and it's been stuck through this shingle for quite some time, And that is an enormous leak. And that is where that water's coming in, leaking into your house. So now I found out what it's leaking. Now I'm going to put a stop to it. But we still got a bigger problem here because we have a lot of soft plywood with big rafter spans. And we're going to have to talk about another roof here. Okay, but I got my man. Like I said, appears to be fine. You look through everything except for where I just picked this up because I saw that. And that's all it took was the bouncy plywood that's rotted already. With that big clip sticking through the shingle. Just the corner of it, was it? Well, I'll fix that really quick and then we can discuss a new roof system.